Billy here. Welcome to my abode. Show you my one-room apartment. Nice. I like it. This is looking the other way. The entrance. It's community kitchen, community bathroom. It's all I need. Actually, it's more than I need. I'm comfy. Anyway, there's some interesting things I've been going through here, just in the news. I've mentioned in my last video, and I shared some Earl Grey videos about the subject. It's everywhere. It's out. They're erasing the border between Poland and Ukraine. They're integrating Polish people into the Ukrainian government. So NATO's washing its hands, and U.S. is sloughing it off, right? Going to be Poland's problem? Poland is a NATO member, isn't it? It's an end run. They've lost Ukraine. They want NATO on Russia's borders. So if Poland swallows up a bunch of Ukraine, then it'll be by default Poland on Russia's border. You think they're going to do that? Looks like it. Looks like that's exactly what they're doing. Will Poland go all the way to Kiev? Maybe. They'll make all kinds of wonderful agreements and become a united country. What was all that about? National sovereignty? When the Caribbeans wanted to become Russian? The Donbass people wanted to become Russian, so Ukrainians bombed them for 8 freaking years. And then Russia started a war, and now, the Ukrainians are all going to want to become Polish, right? The ones east of the Dnieper. Yeah, because they're told to. And they'll get to be Europeans now. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. You look at the history of Poland, and I tried to find some stuff, because I remember reading a lot of stuff about why exactly they partitioned it in the Second World War. There's a lot of genocide going on in all the territory that Poland controlled. The new Poland that was put together after World War I, not the Polish kingdom. Poland was kind of like Germany. There was no Germany before 1867. There was German people. There's no United State. Poland was pretty much the same way until after the First World War, and they cobbed it together, and they started becoming really aggressive and ethnically cleansing the area and expanding it. That's why they were partitioned. It's hard to get information like that. I read a comment that made a real good synopsis of the whole thing. He didn't provide any links, but you do some digging, you can find this stuff. As useless as Google is, you're going to have to go back to news sources back around in the late 30s to see it. Google has become completely useless. If you want to find information and you word it correctly, they'll know what you're looking for, and instead of bringing you to it, even if you give the title to something, it won't take you to that title. It'll take you to counter information. It'll take you to people that claim that's not true, and fact checkers and hacks that wrote stuff saying that's not really happened. They'll take you to Polish national sites. It's just gotten to be a joke. Google was nice while it lasted, but it's not anymore. Anyway, I posted the whole comment in the description of my last video. I don't even remember the name of it. I didn't even give it a real title. It was just a kind of a... Oh, man. Well, the last video did. It's over there on But the title, I mean uh-oh. It's kicking it out. It's too long. I'll have to put it somehow and put a link to it. I'll tell you what, I'll read it real quick. This is a comment by, I may have to edit it. Well, I just shot myself in the foot again. Well, now it's blocked me from everything because it's too long. It just did that. I had it all in here. Damn it. Okay, there it is. Toby Stuart. 5 days ago, he put this in a comment on Earl Grey's video about the Dutch disease. I've linked to it in the last video. You can find it. You're smart people. Okay, I don't have to do everything for you. Toby says anyone who knows anything about Poland and Ukraine knows that both nations were created at the end of the First World War. Yeah, I kind of forgot about that. It's easy to confuse the Polish area, the Polish Empire, with modern state of Poland. We're talking about modern states here. It's a different thing. Germany doesn't go back 1,000 years. It goes back to 1867. But the German people lived there in various states and city-states and regions, kingdoms, fiefdoms, and areas. It wasn't consolidated until Bismarck did his thing and installed Kaiser Wilhelm. Poland was partitioned and taken apart and partitioned and taken apart, and then it was cobbed back together after the First World War. It's an interesting subject. It seems to be kind of hard to find information on Google about it, though, or Wikipedia. Like Ukraine, it was cobbed together of different provinces from the, here we go, Galicia. I'm probably not pronouncing it right. I've been there, but I'm probably not pronouncing it right. Galicia is western Ukraine, near the Polish border, where Lvov is, where all the Nazis hang out. They were provinces of the Austro Hungarian Empire before it was dissolved at the end of the First World War. Yeah, artificial states dissolved and put together after the war. Now, Polish ethnically cleansed Ukraine in this period, brutalizing even Bandera's family. Well, that's why he was buttsore about it. No excuse, though, but hate versus hate. They also invaded Lithuania and Czechoslovakia. That's what I remember reading. Poles invaded Czechoslovakia. They expanded their lands as far as possible. Winston Churchill described them as assisting Germany in the attack on poor Czechoslovakia as having a hyena-like appetite. If you know, Churchill's a drama queen, but that's probably true. This gave rise to Bandera and all the Ukrainian nationalists that hated Polish people. And now, these two chums that get along so well, Western Ukrainians and Poles, are to become united in holy statementony. Yeah, so NATO can be on the Russian border. And what a country. They deserve each other. They're integrating. It's an end run. That's what they're doing. Whatever they can get. What'll Russia do? Now, wait and see. It'll be good. Well, that's enough of that. I'll sort this mess out here after I finish this video and figure out how I'm going to put this. I want you to see this comment. I can't link to it. I used to be able to link to comments, but for some reason I can't. I'll figure a way you can read it, because this is good. And it might make it easier to find information on this. But anyway, that's enough of that. I was going to talk about numbers and how they get weird on you. A couple of things I've noticed and they're hard to explain. Maybe some of you have some insights onto this. First off, we were I was triggered to do this years ago when some charlatans came around to a strip center church that I was attending. I think it was a vineyard. I had friends and networks, and the church is inside the church, hidden in it. This vineyard church was doing all kinds of fugazi things, so I finally quit going. It's just too much. But they had people come in saying that their last name was Cohen, which means that they were a direct descendant from the tribe of Levi. So they were supposed to be respected by Christians because they're supposedly direct descendants of the priestly tribe of ancient Israel. Really? There's so many layers of bullshit with that, it's hard to fathom. But the main one I focused on was, how do you know you're a direct descendant of somebody that existed, that the records were destroyed for 2,000 years ago? Herod destroyed all the genealogical records of the Jews. In, I think just before 70 AD, right around that area. Where's the record that you're a direct descendant? How can there be a record for a direct descendant of somebody 40 generations ago? So let's work out 40 generations, shall we? Get a big giant sheet of butcher paper and put it on a biggest table you can find, and put a little tiny mark way up in the middle of the top that represents you. And now go down through the generations. You have two parents, each of them have two parents, each of them have two parents. Spread them out. You're going to get real tired of making marks, and you're just going to have to sit down and do some exponential math. There are programs that can do that and formulas, but if you understand exponential math, by the time you get back 40 generations, you're in the trillions. But Uncle Bildy, there weren't trillions of people on the planet in 40 generations ago. Well, probably not. They went from Adam and Eve and expanded this way. But when you trace your ancestors, it expands this way. That's kind of weird. And it does go, do the math if you don't believe me. Go back exponentially 40 generations. 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, and so on 40 times, and you'll get in the trillions. It doesn't really expand until you get way down into it, but it does expand. How does that work? How does that happen? Well, you're counting the same people several times, exponentially. I'm not a math person. I'm a logical person, but always had trouble with math. I have real hard time. I have to really strain to get my head around some things. I took algebra in school, and I was just too slow with it. I got the correct answer, but I couldn't do it fast under pressure. When we took a test and you had a time limit, I wouldn't get there. And too bad, you lose. If I'd been given more time, I'd get there. But it's like, I don't know. Doing it on paper, doing it in my head, doesn't matter. We didn't use calculators. It comes to a point where it becomes so complex, I have trouble holding on to it. And then finally something just shorts out. It was poof, like a breaker tripping, and I got to start all over again. But I get there. But how does this work? Well, once you get back so far, you got a lot of cousins and second and third and fourth and fifth and 10th and 12th and 100th cousins marrying each other. So you're counting them twice. Let me know if you figure out a fault with that, but that's my theory. Why the numbers go exponentially out this way when you're going down to your direct descendants from one person out of billions, whereas mankind came from two people going outward exponentially to where we're at. It's a beautiful thing. It's numbers. It's weird. It's really hard to get your head around. There's nothing illogical about it. It's just, I can't grasp it. Maybe you can. But what's illogical about numbers is one thing I've noticed that you may find some humor in this. The way we do, okay, you got your tens, and then, 10 tens is 100, right? And 100 hundreds is 1,000. 1,000 thousands is 1,000,000. And then, is 1,000,000 millions a billion? No, 1,000 millions is a billion. Why did they skip? You know how many extra numbers would be in there if they hadn't done that? If you go through the same pattern consistently, you'd have to go to 999,000 million before you get to a billion. And then from billions to trillions. That's a lot of numbers. 1,000 thousands is 1,000,000. But 1,000 millions is 1,000,000,000, and 1,000 billions is 1,000,000,000,000. Why isn't a billion billions a trillion? Do you know how many extra numbers that'd be? You'd save a lot on numbers. But people want to get to those big numbers real fast so they can be big shots and start talking about billions instead of 115,000 million. That doesn't sing? Maybe the names, they think the names just get too long. 996,994,000 see, you get screwed up like that. But you follow me on this? If 10 tens